your GRE is just 30 days away and you're looking for a score that's 330 or greater, this is definitely the video for you. I'm going to outline a game plan you can do for your last 30 days to inch up where you need to be to hit that 330 score goal. And if you haven't already, watch my general video about how to score a 330 on the GRE. That's a great video to watch if you're just starting out with your prep. So let's get moving. Week 1, this is your final strategy lock-in. Now, what does that actually mean? It means first and foremost, go through your study plan. Make sure it's realistic. Make sure what you're planning on doing each day, each week for those 30 days matches up. Make sure you have the time to do it and you want to be super locked in. Then jump into some time problem sets. You can either make those sets based on your error log, based on your analytics if you're using targettestprep, so that you're focusing in and honing in on your weak areas. But another thought is maybe make it random, maybe make it general, because at this stage of the game, you have to find weak areas that may be hidden. Now again, you're doing these time sets for two reasons. I kind of alluded to it a second ago, but reason number one is you want to emulate what's going to happen on the actual GRE. Time verbal sets, time quant sets, so you're ready when you get into that practice test phase. Number two, you want to find those hidden weak areas, right? They're hiding, you don't know where they are. So you go in, you do a quant problem set of 20 questions. Maybe you say, oh, I'm not good at converging rate questions and I'm not good at least combination questions. So you go in, you go back to your notes, your prep materials, you make fixes, and then you keep things moving. Then take a practice test. You probably haven't taken one in a while. Take the next one in line with the official ETS practice exams. See where you're at. You're going to be taking more as this study plan evolves, but that'll be a good starting point because remember, this is week 1 of 30 days or week 1 of 4 weeks. So this study plan, this study strategy is going to fly by. So those are the things you want to be focusing on in week number 1. Week number 2, you're going to be diving into more time practice. I know in week 1 we said review your study schedule, review your error logs, start doing time sets. Well, week 2 is going to be more of that, but you're just going to be doing more and more time sets. And I want to reiterate, the reason why you're doing those time sets is because you're trying to find weak areas and emulate test day. But in week 2, one of the differences between week 1 and week 2 when doing these sets, start to implement your timing strategy. That's right, you need to have a great timing strategy put together for test day. So you need to know, hey, when am I going to skip questions and then mark them for review and come back to it? How much time am I going to give myself for every question? Do I have a handle on my strengths and weaknesses to know when I should skip questions and when I shouldn't? All of that stuff has to be on the table. All of that has to be sorted out. So if you're unclear, go back to your error log, go back to your analytics, look and find those weak areas because that's how you're going to adopt a timing strategy. If you're not good at quadratics and you get stuck on a quadratic question 30 seconds in, you guess, you mark it for review, you move on. These are the timing strategies you want to bring into your practice exams and then you want to bring into your test day as well. At the end of that week, take another practice test. That's going to be the next one in line in the ETS practice exams that you have. When taking it, use your timing strategy, follow test day conditions, meaning don't take unnecessary breaks, don't use a handheld calculator. If you're taking it at home, take it in the same place on the same computer. If you're taking it in a test center, maybe go to a library, right? Take it in a semi-public place that feels like a test center. If you can do those things, you're going to be locked in and ready as you move through your study plan. By the time you get through that test in week 2, again, analyze it like heck. Make sure you see where you're weak. If there are gaps, go back to your prep materials, fix those gaps, get ready for week 3. Week 3, we're going to do some more practice tests and we're going to do some fine tuning. So what do you do in week 3? Well, of course, you take another practice test. During that practice test, things should be going better than they were previously. You should be getting closer and closer to your score goal. And yeah, you should take that data, you should fill in knowledge gaps, and you should make sure that any issues you had during that practice test are addressed. Now, also go in, do some mixed problem sets, do topical problem sets if you know some areas of weakness. The whole point of this week is to continue to fine tune. So it's not just practice tests, it's problem sets as well. It's working on your stamina, working on your timing strategies during your practice exams to make sure those carry through all the way to test day. And then that's gonna lead you well into week 4. All right, now we're on to week 4. So you've got 1 week until that GRE. So in week 1, week 2, week 3, you've been building to this point. You've been doing problem sets. You've been doing practice exams. You've been finding weak areas and fixing them. That's not going to end in the final week, but you are going to start to cut things down. Remember, that final week is a week where you don't want to cram. You may be telling yourself you want to. You might be paranoid about things you're forgetting, but don't. You want to be fresh as possible when you walk into that test center or when you sit into your office or your bedroom and take that online GRE. So you don't want to overdo it. But it's not to say you don't study. You're going to do a lot of flashcard review that week. You're going to do some problem sets, maybe not as big, maybe 10 question problem sets, and then one final practice exam, let's say no closer than 3 days to your actual exam. And you want to work on your mental and physical health that week, get plenty of sleep, eat well, stay hydrated, and hopefully these are things you've been doing throughout your prep. But the thing is, as mentioned at the beginning, you don't want to burn out. That's really, really important, because if you burn out and you walk into your test tense, you walk into your test frustrated or nervous or anxious, that's not going to go well, right? So you want to do everything you can to put yourself in the best mental and physical spot for test day, and that means doing light studying, work on your mental, work on your physical, and then as you get really close to the test, do some things that just take your mind off the GRE, especially the day before, right? You want to maybe go work out, do yoga, watch a movie even, something that's not going to have you thinking and worrying about the upcoming GRE. And look, if you've been putting in the time over the course of those 30 days, then you're going to be in a place where you should feel mentally ready to knock this thing out of the park. And hopefully you've left yourself plenty of time where if you do have to retake it, you retake it. No big deal. That means you can go in, relax, not stress, not thinking that all your chips are on the table. So follow the advice. This is your last 30 days. Go to the test, crush it. All right, everybody, that's it. That's your 30-day study plan. I had a blast going through that. I hope you got something out of this. And remember, this is a video that I want you to watch after watching the original How to Score 330 or Higher on your GRE, because this is not about the overall study strategy, but just the last 30 days. And as always, if you like the video, please like the channel, like the video, subscribe to our channel, like the video, leave comments. There's probably other things you want to learn about. I'm happy to do them because I know you want to watch them. So thanks again for watching. I'll see everybody soon.